On News Hour tonight, Senate approves troops deployment to Benin Republic. Fresh protests rock Newman over alleged killing of women in Adamawa. Across Jos and Kano, residents tread carefully on Christmas spending as markets witness slow sales. And on the foreign scene, Tanzania's streets deserted as heavy security spooks protesters. Hello, good evening and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Dorcas Yakubuzala. The Senate has approved President Bola Tinubu's request to deploy Nigerian troops to the Republic of Benin in support of efforts to restore peace and stability following last weekend's attempted coup. Senate President Godswill Akpabio announced these on Tuesday during plenary after lawmakers considered the requests in the Committee of the Whole in line with Section 5, Part 11. The senators unanimously voted in favor of the deployment, giving legislative backing for the regional security intervention. Akpabio described the decision as a step in the right direction, noting that instability in any neighboring state poses a threat to the entire region. Tinubu had written to the Nigerian Senate requesting consent for the deployment of Nigerian troops to Benin Republic. Tinubu, in his letter to the upper chamber, had requested permission for the deployment, noting that Nigeria bears a historic responsibility to assist Benin under existing ECOWAS security arrangements. The approval letter from the Senate will be transmitted to President Tinubu without delay, clearing the way for Nigeria's troops to join the peace mission in Benin Republic.
Will the Senate now confirm the actions of Mr. President in the deployment of the Air Force and troops to Benin Republic to ensure peace mission and restore order and sanity in that country, thereby saving Nigerians from thousands and thousands of refugees and also saving Nigerian borders from unnecessary criminality and disruption of peace and stability. Those in support of the confirmation of the approval say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The approval is hereby confirmed. Yes, Senate Leader, let me thank the President for complying with the constitutional requirements, requesting the Senate to give him the approval and consent to deploy troops and deploy all necessary armament as requested by the Republic of Benin to ensure peace, stability, and to save democracy in that country.
Now joining us via Zoom to discuss this development is a security expert, Muhammad Ali. Good evening and thank you for joining us on the News Hour.
Good evening and thank you for having me.
All right. Nigeria deploying troops to Benin Republic. Is this unprecedented? And why should Nigerians or Nigeria as a country care about what happens in Benin Republic?
The deployment of Nigerian troops to the Benin Republic recently carried out to help is aimed at helping to stabilize the Benin Republic following an attempted coup, because it has direct and significant complex implications for Nigeria's internal security environment. These implications span strategic, operational, and socio-economic dimensions. Some of the positive implications could be looked at from the angle of the intervention is primarily aimed at preventing the political instability from in Benin Republic from spilling over into Nigeria. Benin shares a long porous border with Nigeria, particularly the states of Lagos, Ogun, Osun, Kwara, and Niger states. They have common borders with Benin Republic. Stabilizing Benin Republic, therefore, reduces the risk of mass refugee influx across our borders, and the proliferation of small arms and light weapons, and the movement, of course, of criminal gangs or militants into Nigeria's western flank. Then the containment of insurgency, instability in a neighboring country, particularly one close to the Sahel region, could be exploited by militant groups like those affiliated with ISWAP and Al Qaeda that are already operating in northern Benin Republic and the Western Forest area. Therefore, for the Senate to wholly approve the request of Mr. President, I think it's a welcome development, and we congratulate them for living up to expectations.
All right. So it's obvious Nigeria has many internal security challenges. Can Nigeria afford to offer Benin Republic a military solution?
Nigeria can, of course, offer Benin Republic a military solution because Benin Republic is not bigger than Kano State, so we can help them. And mind you, Nigeria is looked at as the biggest and the richest in the Sahel region. So everybody within the Sahel looked onto Nigeria, and I think protecting Niger Republic is also helping to protect our own economic hub, because Benin Cotonou's Cotonou's port in Benin Republic is a crucial transit hub for goods destined for Nigeria. Political and economic stability in Benin Republic is essential for Nigeria's supply chains and customs revenue. Disruptions to the major trade routes, e.g., the Seme border, due to unrest or prolonged border closures, will trigger economic shocks, price inflation, and domestic unrest in Nigeria's commercial centers. Stabilizing Benin Republic, therefore, protects these internal economic interests.
All right. Thank you very much, Muhammad Ali, a security expert. Thank you so much for joining us on the News Hour and for giving us your insights.
Thank you for having me.
Moving on to more stories. Nigeria has long been a key player in African security, deploying troops across the continent to support peace and stability. But with 7 countries now under military rule, ECOWAS declaring a regional state of emergency, and Nigeria stepping in to prevent recent coups, the question is, what role is the country playing in shaping the future of West African democracy? Ibrahim Ismail explains.
Since gaining independence in 1960, Nigeria has been a major contributor to African and global peacekeeping efforts. Nigerian troops have served in over 40 countries under the UN, AU and ECOWAS, with more than 200,000 personnel deployed in various missions. This track record has made Nigeria a central player in regional security. As of late 2025, 7 African countries are under military rule. Mali fell in August 2020 and May 2021. Guinea, September 2021. Sudan, October 2021. Burkina Faso, January and September 2022. Niger, July 2023. Madagascar, October 2025. Guinea-Bissau, November 2025. These coups have led to military government forming alliances and in some cases withdrawing from regional organizations. Nigeria has actively intervened to prevent coups in the region. The Gambia, 2017, Nigerian troops, part of an ECOWAS force, moved to stop a coup. The deployment sparked controversy as the Senate criticized then-President Muhammadu Buhari for acting without prior approval. Benin Republic 2025. President Bola Tinubu recently deployed Nigerian fighter jets and ground troops to stop a coup attempt over the weekend.
Now, the Economic Community of West African States has declared a state of emergency across the region. The president of the ECOWAS Commission, Umar Toure, made the announcement on Tuesday during the 55th session of the Mediation and Security Council at the ministerial level in Abuja. Addressing ministers, diplomats, and senior officials, Toure gave the sobering assessment of West Africa's political climate, citing multiple incidents as evidence of a rapidly deteriorating security environment. He noted that ECOWAS member states currently face an average rating of high risk based on country-by-country analysis contained in documents before the ministers. Among the most troubling trends, Toure emphasized that elections have become a major trigger of instability in our community. He also cited recent attempted coups and ongoing discussions with the Alliance of Sahel states, stressing the urgent need for a coordinated regional response to terrorism and cross-border criminal activity. Toure called for more frequent meetings of the Mediation and Security Council over the next year, insisting ECOWAS must pool resources to confront the threats of terrorism and banditry, which operate without respect for territorial boundaries. Now, reports reaching us says Burkina Faso has released 11 Nigerian military officers who were detained after their Air Force transport aircraft made an unauthorized landing in the country. Officials said the officers were cleared to return home on Tuesday following initial checks by Burkina Faso authorities amid suspicions over their possible involvement in the Benin coup rescue. The personnel were aboard a Nigerian Air Force NAV C-130, which Abuja described as making a technical emergency landing on Monday in Boboa-Dioulasso while en route to Portugal. Burkina Faso authorities, however, said the aircraft had entered their airspace without prior clearance. And now in Adamawa State, the State Planning Commission has commenced a 4-day sensitization and capacity building workshop aimed at strengthening the state's ability to harness its demographic potential for sustainable development. The workshop, which draws participants from government institutions, civil society, and development partners, focuses on the theme developing potential for harnessing demographic opportunities. Trust TV's Gibson Sowadigo completes the report. We'll bring you details of that report in our subsequent bulletin. Now, moving on to more stories, bandits have renewed attacks on Katsina communities, abducting scores at Tashar Fulani and Erfi villages in Malumfashi local government area of Katsina State. The bandits intercepted a passenger bus heading to Bakuri Market and went away with an unspecified number of the occupants of the vehicle around 9 a.m. this Tuesday. All the victims are believed to be traders heading to Bakuri Market. A source from Tashar Fulani, who preferred not to be mentioned, said the bandits in their numbers blocked Malumfashi Funtua Road at Shuwaiki village near Tashar Fulani and forcefully stopped the vehicle. Terrorists who were riding on motorcycles and shooting sporadically were overheard saying the renewed attacks were as a result of unfulfilled promises by the authorities involved. Similarly, the bandits had reportedly abducted 2 people at Erfi village, all in Malumfashi local government area, some few kilometers to Tashar Fulani, the scene of this Tuesday's attack. In the same vein, reports from Unguwar Mantau, where over 50 people were killed recently, say residents are calling for the deployment of security personnel to prevent another round of massacre. A spokesman for Katsina State Police Command, DSP Sadiq Aliyu, did not respond to several calls and text messages by our reporter to comment or confirm the attacks. Now, after months of high-stakes drama and political infighting, Governor Siminalayi Fubara has officially defected from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC. The announcement was made earlier on Tuesday at a critical stakeholders meeting held at the Government House in Port Harcourt, confirming weeks of speculation about his political future. Observers say with the defection, the protracted bitter rift between Fubara and his estranged political godfather and predecessor, the current FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, will finally be settled.
What you all have been waiting for, what you've been asking me, the signal has finally arrived. We have the full support, we have positive nod to live where we are because we didn't get any protection. To go to where the reason why we are still standing is because of that case. And the truth is, without Mr. President, there won't be any His Excellency Siminalayi Fubara. It would have been former. So we have every reason, because the truth, let nobody be fooled in this state. We have the people, we have the supporters. Everyone here who have followed me, who have suffered with me, our decision today, this evening, we are moving to APC.
Now, the Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has officially joined the Accord Party days after leaving the People's Democratic Party. The governor made the announcement on Tuesday at the banquet hall of the Government House in the presence of national and state leaders of the Accord Party. Adeleke also revealed his intention to seek re-election for a second term on the platform of the Thumb Up Party, stating that he joined the party more than a month ago. Adeleke stated that he opted for the party because its mission of welfarism aligns with his administration's focus on citizens and workers' welfare.
Others follows. And what I do today is very significant. So, Your Excellency, I want to present a card, which was you entered the party the 6th of November, and we are today presenting the His Excellency's card officially. I will present it to the whole world to know that our state has lied and they are working accordingly with the spirit and money and
Now, fresh protests erupted in Numan, Adamawa State on Tuesday following accusations that Nigerian army personnel killed women and children while deployed to restore order in the crisis-hit Lamurde local government area. The unrest stems from ongoing communal clashes involving the Bachama and Chobo communities. However, the Nigerian army has denied the allegations, insisting that the casualties resulted from local militias mishandling automatic weapons. Trust TV's Gibson Sawadigo completes the report.
Tension remains high in Lamurde as large numbers of women, clad in black, march through the major roads, protesting the alleged killings of civilians by security forces. The demonstration caused significant disruption to vehicular movement along the busy highway. The grieving protesters are demanding justice for the victims as the remains of some deceased women were conveyed to Lamurde for burial. A mix of sorrow, anger, and frustration filled the air as chants for justice grew louder.
Our women were killed by uniformed personnel. Leave us with griefs in our hearts as a people. As women, we call the government to fight for our rights, because according to the Constitution of Nigeria, we have a right to life.
So those particular people that shot this bullet I'm holding right now, when they came, they stopped the car, they stopped the truck. I have never seen where a military man came down from a truck and went on his knee, pinned down, and aimed at the women in close range and fired bullet on rapid, and shot about over 20 people at the spot. 5 people were lying dead.
The protesters accused security forces of responding late despite early distress calls, allowing the violence to escalate and several communities to be razed.
No one was having any armed, nobody was having something with them. We were just holding leaves.
To contain the unrest, the Adamawa State government has imposed a 24-hour curfew in Lamurde, with security operatives stationed across the area to enforce compliance as hostilities between Bachama and Chobo-speaking groups persist. Several injured victims are currently receiving treatment at Numan General Hospital, while the casualty figures are expected to rise as more information emerges. While the protesters maintain the army is responsible for the death, the Nigerian army dismissed the claims, stating that the fatalities were caused by untrained local militias who mishandled automatic firearms. Gibson Soadugo, Trust TV News, Yola.
With just 2 weeks to Christmas, residents of Jos, the Plateau State capital, are urging celebrants to keep spending low in light of the ongoing economic hardship in the country. Many say they have yet to purchase items for the celebrations, stressing that the true essence of Christmas is more important than extravagant spending. Ado Musa spoke with residents in Jos and now reports.
Rising inflation, an unstable naira, and widespread economic difficulties have turned what was once a joyous season into one filled with caution and financial worry. Essential items such as rice, beverages, and clothes have become increasingly unaffordable. Still, residents say Christmas can be celebrated modestly without excessive spending.
But I will tell you that we are celebrating Christmas because we are, number one is being alive, and we thank God for that, and God has given us a healthy life. But one thing is that the government of the day is not helping us. You cannot be proud now to go to market, say you want to buy rice or you want to buy things for your family. I have not bought anything for now, but I see hope and having hope in God that God will see me through and I'll provide something for my family.
Actually, it is not easy in terms of economy. The economy is harsh, is rough, is tough. But to the glory of God, we are all alive, and we're trusting God that God is going to allow us to celebrate this Christmas.
Christmas has to be celebrated in whichever way, and that's what we have to do. So it doesn't matter if you have the money to spend to celebrate the Christmas or not, but it has to be celebrated. Exactly. So the Christmas celebration shouldn't be that you must have to go around and borrow money to celebrate the Christmas. As you're doing that, you should also think of the January, which is around the corner. You talk about other things like children's school fees and the rest.
Meanwhile, traders are also feeling the impact of reduced purchasing power. Ella Promise Njoku and Mrs. Florence Onyechelo, who sell clothing and beverages, say patronage has dropped sharply despite the approaching festivities.
Well, my brother, will thank God, but truly speaking, things are not moving as it's supposed to move. We'll have 2 weeks before Christmas. By now, we that are selling drinks, we're supposed to get in more customers, but it's not like that. But we are still believing God that by God's grace, from now to next week, maybe things will be improved more. By now, we're supposed to be busy selling, but since morning, it's only one person that has come to buy.
Yes, actually, we thank God everything is moving fine. Though, considering the economy of the country, I can see that many still they cannot afford money to buy the clothes. But we still thank God. We still have those that are buying. But the market is somehow slow. That's it. Exactly. Years back, by this time, maybe if you come to this shop, you will see a lot of people buying. But now, honestly, there is difference. The market is somehow slow.
Residents and traders alike remain hopeful that the situation will improve before the Christmas day, allowing more families to afford essential goods and enjoy the celebration. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
In a similar development, with Christmas just a fortnight away, residents of Kano State are navigating a mixed economic landscape. While prices of key festive commodities and transportation remain relatively stable, patronage appears to be dwindling. Abdulaziz Ibrahim visited markets and motor parks across the metropolis to assess the situation and now reports.
Despite the general rise in the cost of living this year, livestock prices in Kano appear to be moving in the opposite direction. At Sabongari Market, dealers say the festive season has not driven prices up as many had anticipated.
Last year, broilers were sold at 10,000 naira to 12,000 naira, but this year they were selling for 6,000 to 7,000 naira.
Other livestock sellers share similar observations.
The livestock market is moving normally. People complain they don't have money, but prices are still cheaper than last year. Chicken we sold for 4,000 before are now going for as low as 3,000 naira, depending on the size and availability.
At markets for larger animals, the situation remains the same.
The price has reduced compared to last year. A cow that will go for 300,000 last year is now going for 250,000 naira, while goats cost between 25 to 27,000 naira.
Away from the markets, major motor parks across Kano are experiencing improved conditions compared to last year when fuel scarcity disrupted travel and pushed up transport fares.
Last year, people, even the cars, you see motors are available here. Last year, you may find no motors. Passengers all enter the motor and leave. That is because of the no petroleum scarcity.
Unlike last year, by this time there is scarcity of fuel and even scarcity of the transport workers due to the high rise of petroleum and some other things like that. But for this year, almost things are coming stable, not like the previous time before.
I was like, will I be able to travel this year? So it was yesterday that I came down here to make an inquiry to know the cheapest one among the buses. So I was able to get this one, which is the most cheapest. Unlike last year, I know how much they are entering that last year. It was very costly. Today I said that too many people do not travel.
However, beyond the pricing alone, some residents say a number of factors may be affecting travel decisions this season.
Passengers are not many this year. It might be because of insecurity or people just don't have money. We pray for peace in Kano State and Nigeria. There are many new transporters operating, but passengers aren't coming.
The combination of cheaper livestock, stable food prices, and steady transport fares offers some relief in a year marked by economic strain. For now, residents are hopeful that these conditions will hold as Christmas approaches. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Kano.
This is News Hour on Trust TV, coming up after the break. FCT communities lament poor health facilities despite federal revitalization claims. This and many more when we return. Do stay with us. Welcome back from the break. In case you're just joining, this is News Hour on Trust TV. Let's take a look at our top stories again. We told you that Senate approves troops deployment to Benin Republic. And fresh protests rock Numan over alleged killing of women in Adamawa. Now we're circling back to our earlier reports where bandits have renewed attacks on Katsina communities. Our correspondent Abdullahi Yamadi is standing by to give an update on the situation. Good evening and thank you for joining us on the News Hour.
Thank you very much.
All right, so what is the current situation in Malumfashi?
Well, the current situation in Malumfashi is that people are apprehensive and living in fear of the unknown, with thousands of local residents leaving their homes every evening, passing the night in the bushes and other places they perceived safe. The situation is very uncomfortable and highly unbearable because they say with the bandits resurfacing, imposing levies on some local communities in Malumfashi local government, especially around Dei ward, people are seriously grieved and in fear. They are saying the peace deal is no longer effective, it is ineffective. So they want the government to declare a total war against these bandits, at least to secure these communities that have been devastated for over some decades now.
All right. According to the report, the terrorists were overheard saying the renewed attacks were as a result of unfulfilled promises by the authorities involved. What do we know about these promises?
Well, some of the promises include provision of schools, hospitals, water points, grazing reserves, and cattle routes, which they alleged had been previously depleted and converted to farmlands. And they are saying they were expecting the local authorities whom they charged this, or rather signed this peace deal with, to contact the higher authorities in the state to at least start doing something to show that they are committed, to show their commitment to the peace deal. But up to this moment, nothing has been done, and local communities in those areas are beginning to give up, saying the peace deal is ineffective, and the peace deal could best be described as a peace deal without peace, or rather a deal without peace.
All right. Thank you very much, Abdullahi Yamadi, for joining us and for giving us that update.
Thank you, most sincerely.
Moving on to more stories. Religious and traditional leaders say genocide claims must not divide Nigerians, insisting that every life is sacred. They spoke at a high-level interfaith dialogue in Abuja, where leaders from Muslim and Christian groups jointly condemned the killing of Nigerians by terrorist groups. It described the attacks as evil and against the core teachings of their faiths. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman now reports.
The meeting comes as insecurity deepens across the country, feeding fear, mistrust and pressure on national unity. Religious and traditional leaders from different faiths and ethnic groups come together with one message: stop the killings and respect human life. They agree that attacks targeting Muslims and Christians run against religious teachings and demand a united response from communities and leaders.
All leaders reaffirmed that every human life is sacred and must be protected, condemning all killings, kidnappings, and targeted attacks across Nigeria. The dialogue declared that no religion supports violence and no individual or group may justify killings or extremism in the name of faith.
The dialogue stresses the role of accountable leadership, fairness and better governance in reducing the pool of violent extremism, especially among young people.
We advocate for stronger security, justice, and good governance reforms. in the form of proactive actions against hate speeches and actions very deliberate and conscious that will enhance and promote economic opportunities for youths and compensations for all victims of avoidable aggression.
The talks also address rising tensions linked to genocide claims, a narrative tied to statements by the United States government, which many participants say is widening religious suspicion. The leaders warn that framing Nigeria's crisis along religious lines only worsens an already fragile situation. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The management of Mangal Cement Industry, Iluagban, in Yagba East local government area in Kogi State, has sacked a driver for using one of the company's trucks to carry children in a suspected human trafficking offense. The driver of the truck was arrested last Friday in Isalu, the headquarters of Yagba East local government area, by security operatives for carrying 21 children with their age ranging from 6 to 17 years into the state. However, the company has distanced itself from the actions of the driver who allegedly used a company truck to transport the children. The company disclosed this in a statement signed by the General Manager, Administration and Human Resources, Dr. Musa Umar. The company expressed dismay at the driver's actions, saying it contravened company rules and posed a security risk to the society. The statement added further that Mangal Cement Industry was not involved in the driver's misconduct, noting that authorities are already investigating the matter, even as it stressed that it would not condone or support any activities that promote crime and criminality in the state. Now, earlier this year, the federal government announced major strides in Nigeria's ongoing health sector reforms. During the PHC update and the 2025 African Vaccination Week press briefing in Abuja, the Executive Director and Chief Executive Officer of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Muyi Aino, revealed that 901 primary healthcare centers had been fully revitalized nationwide within the last year. However, despite the federal government's reports of progress, the situation in many communities in the FCT tells a different story, as Trust TV's Tante Azal reports.
Efforts to obtain first-hand assessment from several primary healthcare facilities in Abuja were unsuccessful. This led our team to seek the perspectives of community leaders who expressed concerns over the true state of healthcare delivery in their areas. The district head of Mabushi spoke on the challenges faced by the local health facility and how, despite its shortcomings, it continues to serve residents who rely heavily on its services.
The state of health facility in Mabushi, to some extent, is okay. Why? Because we have a very conducive location and atmosphere in the health center, that is public health center in Mabushi, and the staffs there are doing their best in terms of attending to patient. There is no time that you will go there, you will not see a staff that will attend to you, and there are always a doctor who is attached to the center. So if we are to talk of the state of our health care services in the community, to some extent we are okay. They are doing their best. It is only when there are issues that is beyond their handling, they will make referrals.
Residents of Mabushi also highlighted multiple issues affecting their primary health care center and appealed to government authorities for stronger intervention and better service delivery.
In Mabushi Healthcare Clinic, I know we have a lot of challenges, but we're hoping for this Rotary NGO. The ones come before, they will have challenges of bed and some other equipment, drugs. They had the program here they were able to fix some, but some were not fixed.
I think they are trained to an extent, but I could say they are a bit short of staff. They are not really plenty. They are not much.
Across different communities, many residents say non-governmental organizations have often taken the lead in establishing or supporting healthcare centers. Shockingly, some communities within Abuja, the country's capital, still lack proper healthcare infrastructure, forcing residents to travel long distances for basic medical care.
Concerning the healthcare, is very poor, especially the area that we are now. One, we need social amenities, e.g. like hospital, we need road, and we need standard school. Now if you talk about the hospital here, especially the hospital here is, they don't have equipment here. And the nurse that we have here, they need to improve a little. You take the person to another hospital somewhere else apart from Gishili here. Maybe you can go to pharmacy, buy drugs, manage the person, then take it to another place.
They will rush go Matama now because of say they are just not complete. We know what they here, make person die now. But if you go Matama now, we rush you do tests, run up and down, all this thing. But no one they here.
Residents of Gishiri reaffirmed the need for urgent and meaningful government action to ensure that primary health care becomes accessible, functional, and reliable for all. Tantiaza, Trust TV, Abuja.
The Nasarawa State House of Assembly has suspended the chairman of Lafia local government, Muhammad Halliru, for 3 months. The Speaker of the Assembly, Danladi Jato, announced the decision in Lafia after Musa Ibrahim Abubakar, chairman of the House Committee on Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, raised concerns over an administrative crisis currently affecting governance in Lafia local government area. The report.
The Speaker explained that the suspension will allow for a thorough investigation into the local government administration, a situation lawmakers say is threatening peace and stability in the state. He noted that the decision is in accordance with Section 7 and 128 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, which outlines the oversight function of the legislature.
For proper investigation to know the root cause of what is happening in Lafia local government administration, under the power of the Assembly in Section 7 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, or also in Section 128 of the same Constitution has prescribed our functions. On this note, the chairman of Lafia local government is hereby suspended for 3 months. The status of the legislative arm of Lafia local government remain till investigation is concluded by the Committee on Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs.
A committee on local government and chieftaincy affairs has been assigned to carry out the investigation and is expected to conclude its findings within the 3-month suspension period. During this time, the deputy chairman Uba Arikia was directed to take charge of Lafia local government. Earlier, while moving in a motion of urgent public importance, Honorable Musa Ibrahim Abubakar expressed concern over the ongoing administrative issues, including the suspension of the Speaker of the Local Government Legislative Council for 6 months without due process, a move he described as unconstitutional.
But what happened yesterday, it was directly against the provision of the Constitution, where the Speaker was suspended for 6 months without him being notified for his actions or inactions in the office. And what even bothers us more was the involvement of the executive chairman. And I felt if there is impeachment or suspension that takes up to 6 months, this assembly should know.
He called on the Assembly to intervene and ensure accountability and transparency in the Council's financial administration. However, in a dramatic twist just hours later, the Lafia Local Government Legislative Council suspended the acting chairman Uba Arikia for 3 months with effect from December 9, 2025. Shuaibu Muhammad Abba announced himself as acting chairman while briefing journalists after an emergency sitting. He alleged that the deputy acting chairman accused the suspended chairman Arabo of involvement in the earlier suspension of the Legislative Council Speaker, claims the council dismissed as misconduct. Meanwhile, supporters of the suspended chairman Mohammed Halilu Arabo staged a peaceful protest from Lafia Town to the State House of Assembly complex, rejecting the suspension and demanding his immediate reinstatement.
Nigeria has joined the rest of the world to mark this year's International Anti-Corruption Day, commemorated every December 9th following the adoption of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption in 2003. This year's theme focuses on young people, a population of almost 1.9 billion globally, and how corruption threatens their present opportunities and future prospects. In this report, our correspondent, Noel Sampson, engages an anti-corruption advocate on the way forward and also features an exclusive interview with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on efforts to curb corruption in Nigeria. The report.
With 90% of the world's youth living in developing countries, corruption hits hardest where opportunities are already scarce. Globally, it is estimated that over $1 trillion is paid in bribes annually, while an additional $2.6 trillion, about 5% of global GDP, is lost to corruption. Beyond the economic cost, corruption fuels political instability, environmental damage, and weakens democratic systems. In Nigeria, a generation that should be frontliners in promoting transparency is increasingly becoming indifferent to corruption. A get-rich-quick culture and fascination with unexplained wealth continue to grow. Surveys show that over 70% of Nigerian youth believe societal success depends more on connections than merit, raising fears that corruption is becoming normalized. This raises a critical question: is the fight against corruption making impact?
So the corruption is working in some areas, as it is, but the areas, so we're doing well in terms of asset recovery, but with that it means we are still bleeding in the financial flows. That's why asset recovery is high. We are doing well in international cooperation because we have partnership with a lot of countries around the world in terms of cooperation with regards to corruption. But what we are not doing well is the prevention, how to prevent the corruption from happening itself, which is most of the factors that drive that, or the sectors that are bleeding, are the procurement sector.
Concerns have also been raised over the pace of some high-profile investigations on perceived delays in prosecuting corrupt individuals. Responding to these concerns, EFCC spokesperson Oyewale Oladele provides insight into recent achievements and strategies adopted to sustain the fight against graft, as well as progress efforts to tackle illicit financial inflows.
No, it's not gestural, it's not symbolic, it's not a charade. We are working. Just last year, even at the level of the EFCC, 5 former governors were charged to court. 5 former ministers were charged to court. And we have so many high-profile convictions in different different sectors of the economy. Former bankers, captains of industry, heads of a ministry, department, and agencies that are charged to court that have been convicted.
He notes that since its establishment, the Commission has secured over 13,000 convictions, investigating and prosecuting cases across cybercrime, public sector corruption, and financial fraud.
There are legal frameworks. There are institutional reforms. There is international collaboration. Across the world now, it's not possible for anyone to be involved in any criminal or corrupt practice without being brought to book. We have our alliances all over the world. International collaboration is a potent mechanism of bringing corruption to its knees anywhere in the world, including Nigeria. And we have very active and robust engagement with agencies like the Federal Bureau of Investigation in the US, the National Crime Agency in the UK, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police in Canada, even the Metropole in London. So even the Interpol. So because of international collaboration, it is not possible for anyone to look for a safe haven where money can be warehoused.
Research suggests that Nigeria loses between $10 and $20 billion annually to corruption in the public sector. Funds that could strengthen education, healthcare, infrastructure, and job creation for young people. Experts warn that if accountability systems are not reinforced, the nation risks deepening inequality and further eroding trust in government. Well, Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The federal government and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia have signed a new memorandum of understanding to strengthen defense and military cooperation between both nations. The agreement, according to a statement by Special Assistant on Media to the Minister of State Defense, Ahmad Danwoodil, will cover strategic collaboration across security, military training, intelligence sharing, defense production, and joint operations for sustainable security development. The pact was signed on behalf of the Federal Republic of Nigeria by the Minister of State for Defense, Dr. Muhammad Bello Matawale, while Dr. Khalid Haj Al-Biyari signed for the government of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It noted that the agreement marks a significant step in boosting bilateral relations, cooperation, and enhancing collaborative efforts in tackling emerging security challenges in the country. The Defense Ministry said it welcomes the development, noting the current security challenges in some parts of the country will soon be over. And now in business, upcoming Federal Reserve meeting and the implications of the U.S. allowing NVIDIA's second-best chips to be exported to China were top on traders' minds on Tuesday as global bond sell-off took a break and stocks drifted. Reports say it is not just the Fed that was up this week, as the Reserve Bank of Australia held rates steady as expected on Tuesday, but more notably, it ruled out further policy easing and warned the next move could be up if inflation pressures prove to be stubborn. That pushed the Australian dollar to a trade just shy of a near 3-month high. NVIDIA shares rose around 2% in pre-market trading, but Chinese tech names slid both onshore and in Hong Kong. Away from Nigeria, Tanzania's biggest city was deserted on Tuesday, with a heavy security presence apparently deterring planned anti-government demonstrations over the election violence in October. Police last week banned proposed rallies, which were called in response to the violent crackdown on unrest during the October 29th election. It's now time for sports updates with Kabir Lawal.
Super Eagles head coach Eric Chell is yet to officially release his final roster for the 2025 AFCON, but he will have a boost in midfield. Club Brugge have announced that Raphael Oyedinka will be available for AFCON. The club disclosed this on their official website on Monday. This marked Oyedinka's second major tournament with the national team, following his participation in the 2023 AFCON, where Nigeria reached the final in Ivory Coast. During the tournament, Oyedinka's involvement was limited to a 27-minute appearance in the 1-0 group stage win against Guinea-Bissau. However, his consistent performances at the club level have ensured he remains a key figure in the national team. Still on sport news, World Cup matches at the 2026 World Cup will have 3-minute hydration breaks midway through each half regardless of weather conditions, FIFA has said. Referees will stop games 22 minutes into each half so that players can rehydrate, soccer's global governing body added in a statement. FIFA said the new rule will streamline and simplify the previous rules, which required cooling breaks 30 minutes into each half when the temperature at kickoff exceeded 31 degrees Celsius. That's Sport News. I am Kabir Lawal.
And that's a wrap on News Hour. Do not forget to follow us across all social media platforms for more programs, news, and documentaries. I am Dorcas Yakubuzala. Good night.